iOS 26 brings major changes to Apple Music, and not only on iPhone, but also massive features to Apple CarPlay and to your Apple TV. There's one feature in particular that I'm just obsessed with. Let's start everything off on iPhone. So the first new feature that we just have to talk about are pins. Yes, you can now finally pin albums, artists, or even playlists inside of Apple Music. So if there's a specific album that you're just obsessed with, like me with GNX, I can pin it right on my library. It's very easy the way that it works. Let's say I'm very into Miley Cyrus's latest album, Something Beautiful. I can simply hold on this album right here, and I'll get this new feature right here, which simply says pin album. I simply pin that, so you can see it now says pin, and now I have it pinned right on the top. Something that not a lot of people know is that you can also pin your favorite artist, as you can see. Boom, and I've now got Rosalia right up on the top. And if you're really into a specific song, as you can see, you can also pin a song. So from playlists to albums to artists to songs, you can pin everything now inside of Apple Music. I've been waiting for this feature for the longest time. It's finally here. Thank you, Apple. A brand new change inside of Apple Music now is this gorgeous new liquid glass design. As you can see, I can quickly skim through the different menus, and I have this liquid glass type of design, which is just absolutely beautiful. It is transparent and translucent as well. As you can see, I can see what's behind these buttons right here, which makes it have a very, very cool experience. Full screen live artwork inside of Apple Music, such as albums and everything, just changed the way that the design behaved inside of Apple Music. And Apple has taken this to a whole other level. Because now instead of iOS 26, whenever we play on a full screen artwork, it will turn our entire lock screen to the actual album. And it's live once again. Take a look at how the sky is moving. Or just take a look at Feels Like I'm Falling in Love by Coldplay. It is beautiful. It turns your lock screen into this animated experience. It is gorgeous. There's so many different styles to it. Some of them move more, some of them move less, but they're all just gorgeous. If a specific album doesn't have a full screen layout, this is the way that it will look. It will still go full screen, but the album itself obviously won't move, and it will be a simple square that will sit right here in the lock screen, but your time and date will still move up in the top, and notifications will be at the bottom of the music. And then if you simply want to hide the album, you can simply tap on it, and then if you want it to show again, you can simply tap on it again. Apple Music also brings a new AI feature that just works extremely well, which is this right here. So you've probably seen it going viral online, but this is AutoMix, and it will basically transition your current song, and when it ends, it will match the beat to the next song and will make you have a very DJ-like experience, and it does it all using AI. Now you can choose the style of transition that you want from Apple Music inside of settings. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see song transition, and from there you can decide, do you want song transitions at all, or do you want them? And then you can choose the transition style. This is AutoMix. This is the feature that I was just telling you about, or you can simply do crossfade, and then you can, mess around with the duration. It's a very simple song transition. I highly recommend the AutoMix because it will use AI to match the beat, which is basically what a DJ ends up doing in real life. As Apple says, it's based on analysis of the key and tempo of the music. This will just do it manually. It's not really intelligent, and sometimes, if you do like a long song crossfade duration, it will kind of not sound right. Highly recommend you to try it, AutoMix. It is by far one of the best features that Apple has ever released for Apple Music by far. If we go inside of playlist, this is new as well. As you can see, you can finally add folders inside of playlists. So I'm sure if you've been using Apple Music for quite a while, I'm sure you've got tons of different playlists inside of your library. You can simply tap on the plus icon right here, and you can decide, hey, do you want to create a new playlist or now a new folder? You can simply add a name to it. And once you've created it, it's as simple as simply holding it and then swiping up and then simply dragging it inside of one another. You'll be able to see moved to Made by Apple, for example, which is the playlist that I called it. And inside of here, you'll have all of your Made by Apple playlist or all of your workout playlists. You can decide to do whatever you want with them. This feature has finally been added. I've been also waiting this for a very, very long time. Now, we all know and love Apple Music Replay, right? At the end of the year, Apple gives us this right here, which is basically a recap of all the music that we've been listening to throughout the years, like 2022, 2024, 2025, etc. But previously, we were sent to an Apple website on Safari, but now, check this out, it's now built in to the actual app itself. And inside of here, you'll be able to see everyone that you've listened to the most, your top songs, your top albums, your milestones, which is pretty cool. So I've listened to 1,000 songs. You'll also have your access to your playlist, all built in within the actual app. It's very cool the way that it works. Within this button right here, you'll be able to see, your previous years, for example. You'll also have access to your highlight reel, if it's closing to the end of the year. Then your top artists, you can also tap on this little icon right here, and it will show you a big ranking of your favorite artists right here. You can tap on the artists themselves, and it will redirect you to the artist profile inside of Apple Music. The design of this page is absolutely beautiful, and it's just so well built. And I just can't believe that we finally have an Apple Music replay. It sounded obvious, but it's finally available as well. If we dive back inside of the settings and tap on music and then tap on larger text for lyrics, you'll be able to have a brand new feature, which is pronunciation. Now, since we're using the beta, it is still not out yet, which, by the way, I highly do not encourage you to install the beta yet. I highly encourage you, obviously, to download iOS 26 once it's been out for the public, which is probably going to be later on this year. Unless you're a developer, do not download iOS 26. You've been warned. But iOS 26 also brings pronunciation and translation to lyrics inside of Apple Music. So if you're singing K-pop, for example, Apple Music will automatically translate all of their lyrics, so you'll be able to understand what the song is saying, and also pronunciation. So you'll be able to learn how to pronunciate a certain word in a different language or even in English. Apple Music also gives us a redesigned search tab. So before, it was all built into this menu. Now this little menu right here is kind of divided into 3 different spots: the now playing, the home, new, radio, and library, and now the search is on its own. So when you tap on search, it will move from home, and from here you'll have a whole search UI, which is beautiful with the liquid glass once again. And then once you tap on search, the whole UI for your recently searched songs will pop up. Way cleaner look. Very happy with this change as well. Now, Apple CarPlay has also been massively revamped for Apple Music. The liquid glass design has also been adopted to Apple CarPlay. The menu bar up in the top also refracts light and the texture. You also get so much more in CarPlay. Just check it out.
Inside of Apple Music now, instead of just showing us basically the now playing, it shows us so much stuff that we can stream of. It's basically like the iPhone version of Apple Music, but inside of CarPlay. So you've got tons of different recommendations for music, from playlists, from artists. You've even got all of the made for you playlist right here, the stations for you. You've got the Find Your Mood playlist and so much more. And also, if we tap on new, here's everything new inside of Apple Music. Once again, inside of CarPlay, which looks absolutely incredible. You've also got this beautiful, as you can see, liquid glass design, which kind of flows up here in the top. Once you tap on a specific playlist, boom, it very much looks the same as the previous generation. The up next though, the queue has also been slightly redesigned. So you can see the buttons are also have this liquid glass type of design. Also inside of your library, Apple Music now allows us to pin certain albums or playlists. So if you're someone that listens to GNX a lot or the top 100 playlist on Apple Music, you can pin up to 8, if I'm not mistaken. You can do it on the iPhone, and it will also mirror it inside of Apple CarPlay. So if there's a specific playlist that you always listen to on the road, it will show up right here. You'll now also be able to see your downloaded music inside of Apple CarPlay, which is a brand new feature as well, which is honestly a feature that I totally recommend you guys to use. Make sure to download albums and playlists or artists inside of Apple Music, because sometimes you're on the road and there's no service, and a lot of times you just don't have any music downloaded. So a big recommendation is make sure to download a big playlist that's full of music, so you've always got music accessible for you. What do you guys think about the redesigned Apple Music? I am just simply obsessed with it. And as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm kind of surprised that Apple went this route in terms of this design. It kind of feels like the Tesla UI and how there's so much information on screen. I don't find it distracting. I feel like the way that Apple has designed it is very intuitive, but the buttons have gotten way smaller in the UI. There's just so much crammed into here that it just honestly surprised me a lot the first time I used it. It feels incredible that Apple finally did something like this in terms of Apple Music. And something else that highly surprised me is that you can now watch full-on YouTube videos, Netflix, inside of Apple CarPlay using Apple AirPlay. Now there's a couple buts inside of here. First one is your car has to support it. So it's important to know that if your car manufacturer decides not to accept it, supposedly you will not have the AirPlay version of this feature. And very important, it will obviously not work while you're driving. So you will need to have your car in parked mode in order for this feature to work. Apple Podcast has also been slightly redesigned and has one new feature that I'm kind of happy about. First off, you've got this beautiful liquid design as well inside of podcasts. You've also got the new tab right here, which you can discover tons of new podcasts, including your library. Now, what's cool about this is, first off, you've got a brand new feature, which, by the way, inside the ecosystem, this is my podcast. If you want to listen to the entire recap of WWDC and everything Apple announced way beyond CarPlay, highly recommend this podcast. It's linked down below in the description. So you've got a brand new feature inside of Apple Podcast, inside of CarPlay, which is this right here. You can, let me turn up the volume. So you can put the turtle on and make me speak slower. So you can do up to 0.5. And then if you want to make the playback way faster, you can do up to ×3 in terms of playback speed.
Apple Music inside of the Apple TV also has a bunch of new features. Obviously, one, the liquid glass design all over the UI, but most importantly, it is the brand new app called Sing. So we now have this sort of karaoke inside of the whole Apple TV experience. So Sing is inside of Apple Music. As you can see right here on the top left, we have Home, New, and now a brand new tab, which is Sing, which has its own dedicated app. But if you go inside of Apple Music, you'll still be able to open it. So it's technically a shortcut within Apple Music. But either way, it's basically like a karaoke experience right on your Apple TV. So you've got different artists, different playlists that you'll be able to sing. And I wanted to show you the way that it works. So let's tap on a specific playlist, for example, this one right here, which is called Sing the Hits. And we can go ahead and tap for Good For You for Olivia Rodrigo, for example. Now, right here on the bottom right, you'll see a brand new icon, which is this one right here, which is Welcome to the Sing Mic Era. So your friends and family can simply scan this QR code right here, like I'm doing right now, open Continuity Sing, and I'll get presented with this UI right here. So once you're connected, all of your friends will show up right there on the top left. And you can simply go back and start playing the song. You'll see on the bottom right the amount of people that are inside of your karaoke little party. And then on the iPhone experience, you've got a couple of different unique features. For example, you've got emoji reaction. So let's say you're singing with a bunch of friends and they're doing a very good job. You can start pressing these confetti emojis, or the heart, or the fire, or the star, or you've even got this little plus icon, which will open up the emoji keyboard, so you can simply tap the mind-blowing emoji reaction, for example. And now what's nice about this is that, one, you can tap the song and you can skip the song if you want, just like that. And then what's also nice is that you can swipe up on the microphone and your iPhone will now start acting like a microphone itself. Now, what's cool about this is that you can change the vocals of your voice just by a tap. You can also activate the mic reverb as well. So I just turned all of it and it sounds like a crappy karaoke, which is a lot of fun. And then on the top left, you can also change the song that we'll be playing next. So let's, choose a song really quickly. Wildflower by Billie Eilish. You can tap done. And then the next song that will play inside of your Apple TV will be Wildflower by Billie Eilish. Once you're playing this song, don't forget that you can choose the amount of vocals that you want to play. This has always been a feature here inside of Apple Music, but it now fits way better inside of the Sing whole experience. If you swipe up on the home screen as well from the Sing app on your iPhone, you'll have the dynamic island animation. So if you swipe up really quickly to reply to a message, it will stick right there inside of the dynamic island. Also, if you go inside of settings and then on music, you'll see a brand new setting right here, which is pronunciation. So now with iOS 26 and tvOS 26, you now have pronunciation of lyrics. So if you're singing a song in K-pop, for example, you'll know exactly how to properly pronounced in Korean, and translation. So when you're listening to music, you'll also be translated music from Korean to English, for example, or from Spanish to English. And then the Apple Watch also brings a couple Apple Music features, most importantly inside of the workout app. As you can see, we'll now have a new icon, which is music. So once you start a workout, you now have a toggle to autoplay media, whether you can toggle it on or off. And then once you have it on, you can choose a couple different options. One, do you want AI to choose the music for you? Or do you want to choose your specific media? So do you want to choose your specific playlists that you want to add whenever you're working out? So you can put like a nature walk playlist, for example, when you're having an outdoor walk. maybe you want to have that. Or maybe you just want to let AI, the algorithm, choose the music for you depending on your workout. Apple says that it will customize the experience depending on your workout. So if you're doing heavy lifting, it won't play, you know, nature music. But if you are doing, you know, heavy lifting, it will play hip hop, for example. There's so many new features to discover inside of iOS 26. If you want a full breakdown, over 100 new features and changes for iOS 26, you can tap on this video. WatchOS 26 might also be very interesting for you. Or you can hit subscribe if you learned a bunch of this video and you like Apple content like this one. Make sure to subscribe and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.